Purdy will not play against the Saints. It's a left shoulder injury along with some toes not feeling great. That means Mac Jones is going to get the start tomorrow and potentially beyond week 2.
The Morning Buzz is brought to you by One A Day.
All right, let's break it down. What does it all mean? NFL insider Jeremy Fowler joining the program. What more can you tell us about Purdy's injuries?
Gee, the 49ers are looking at this as week to week. So we've got the toe issue, the shoulder issue. The toe is considered a little bit more of a problem. So it's not a slam dunk next week either, but they're just going to see how he feels. He ruled out this week. Going to let him progress. It's going to be Mac Jones time this weekend. Now, that's interesting because the 49ers looked at him hard in the 2021 draft, 3rd overall. They considered drafting him, didn't happen. Now Mac Jones gets his first chance to operate Kyle Shanahan's offense. So San Francisco hopes that's a short-term thing. Brock's working his way back, doing a nice job with his rehab, but out for this week. Not a slam dunk for next week either, but they're hopeful.
It's the Saints, it's the Cardinals, and I believe the Jags next up for the 49ers. Obviously early in the season, maybe Mac Jones can keep them afloat. Purdy not the only injury from week 1. What's the latest on James Cook's status tomorrow?
James Cook had a little bit of a hammy, but he's good to go. He was limited early in the week, but he perked up. That was really just a tightness issue, not a full-blown hamstring injury or tear. So he's going to get to tote the rock for the Bills, feeling good, no issue there. The bigger issue is Ed Oliver, defensive line. He's out. So the Jets are happy about that, but they're going to have to deal with James Cook. He's going to be in the lineup, good to go. Then you have Xavier Worthy. His chances to play are slim. He's considered doubtful for this weekend's game against the Eagles, but he's perked up a little bit. Looked pretty good in practice on a limited basis, coming on the field on that shoulder issue. Didn't have to wear a big brace on that shoulder during Friday's session. So look, he's going to get to avoid injured reserve. That's the positive. He should be back in the next few weeks. They're just trying to get all their playmakers on the field. Rashee Rice will be back eventually as well. And you got Jalen Waddle. So he was a little banged up earlier in the week, but he is good to go. Head coach Mike McDaniel confirmed that Waddle will be in the lineup. They're trying to get Tyreek Hill and Waddle going now. Ugly game against the Colts last week, but Waddle's really a guy who developed a lot of chemistry over the years of Tua Tagovailoa, but especially this camp. They were really cooking before they started to struggle in week 1, so they're hoping that Waddle gets back on it. He is healthy, good to go.
A get-right game against the Patriots. The Patriots, a team that Waddle had 8 catches, 144 yards, and a touchdown against. Jeremy Fowler is back. So too is last year's Super Bowl rematch. It's the Chiefs. It's the Eagles. The Chiefs trying to avoid an 0-2 start. What are you hearing about their game plan without Xavier Worthy?
Gee, Xavier Worthy made some progress this week. He almost got back in the lineup, but they're going to play it safe. He's doubtful for this game. So they're going to go with some old reliable options. Hollywood Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, and then the newbie Tyquan Thornton that they acquired this offseason will play a role. He could be a deep threat for Patrick Mahomes. The Chiefs do feel like they can make some progress despite being depleted at receiver, because the Eagles have been sort of shuffling around that cornerback 2 spot with Adoree Jackson, the journeyman, going to get the start again. Struggled a bit last week, so the Chiefs are hoping they can take advantage. And they know in this kind of matchup they have to run the ball well. So Isaiah Pacheco is going to have to be a factor. Also from the Eagles side, watch for A.J. Brown. Only 1 target last week.
8 yards.
They are hoping to get him more involved. It's got to be organic. They're not going to force feed him, but those easy slant routes that he can get 8 to 10 yards on, they're going to try to get him involved.
If there was ever a time to have home field advantage on your side, it is for the Chiefs at Arrowhead because they are many men down. In the NFC, Giants still rocking with Russell Wilson at QB1. How soon could we see Jackson Dart under center?
Well, the Giants are trying to stick to their plan here. They got the veteran Russell Wilson. They're trying not to make a rash decision here. They're hoping that Wilson and the offense plays well so that there's really no decision moving forward. But Dart made an impression this preseason to the point where he's been a factor. The noise is only going to get louder. We know that, especially if they don't play well. Now, I do know that the Cowboys have at least loosely prepared for a Jackson Dart package. The Giants have shown that even throughout camp. They'd have a drive where Russell Wilson's leading the drive, then Dart will come in, maybe around the red zone at the goal line. So could be a factor where they could maybe try to get him to the game. Dallas is at least prepared for that, but they've mostly prepared for Russell Wilson.
Yeah, it's first-round draft capital, and everybody knows that the fans and the media in New York are relaxed, they're calm, they're welcoming, they're understanding. No big deal at all. Jeremy Fowler with the latest this morning.
It is a Friday staple here on Get Up. It's Who You Got. Joe Fortenbaugh will take us through the gambling angle, and then my crew at the desk We'll give you the preview on the game. Let's start with the Super Bowl rematch, Fortenbaugh. Chiefs are getting 1.5 points taking on the Eagles. Who you got?
We'll take Kansas City plus the 1.5. It's the 3.5-point flip since last Friday when it was Kansas City -2, but that's what'll happen after the Chargers game. Mahomes in his career 19-4 when coming off a loss. I still have big questions about that Philadelphia defense. They gave up 5.5 yards per play last week against Dallas, albeit no Jalen Carter, but you're on the road. You won't have the crowd noise supporting you here. We like the Chiefs.
He likes the Chiefs. Let's bring it to the desk. And Bart, what's the one key element you're watching for in this game?
Always is Jalen Hurts' feet. He's a dual threat. He hurt the Cowboys in week 1. Getting touchdowns and being active with his feet. He's buying time for them. I mean, he was one of the better running backs. Saquon only has 63 yards. But this is him, and this is the thing. You can't play certain coverages against the Eagles because Jalen Hurts' ability to run. In the red zone especially, you can't play cover 1. You can't play cover 1 because you don't have anybody. You think that you can have a spy, but he can escape from either side of the offensive line, and that puts a defender in a tough spot.
Here's the truth. He has played, as you see the picks up on the screen, Bart, the only one with green under him, which surprises me. I definitely like the Eagles in this game. Peter, Jalen Hurts has played great against the Chiefs in both Super Bowls they played. He candidly was the best player on the field in the one they lost. Last year he won Super Bowl MVP. Why do you like Kansas City?
Mirror time. Look at yourselves in the mirror. This was a whole entire offseason of hearing that the dynasty is done, the window is done. Then last week, after a Friday night loss in Sao Paulo, Brazil, which was 2 hours away from their hotel, and it was on a Friday night, it was a weird setting for them. Everyone is off the bandwagon. This is the Kansas City Chiefs. I trust the institutional knowledge. I trust Mahomes, and I also trust that home field advantage. I think they will find a way when they need it most.
I think one of the things I'm sick of hearing about the Kansas City Chiefs is that, hey, man, they got punched, they got knocked down. Like they haven't faced adversity 5 of the last 6 years of them playing in a Super Bowl. They know how to rebound, but they have to get back to the basics. And what do I mean by that? You got to run the football.
Yeah.
You got to get Isaiah Pacheco going. You got to get Querim Hunt going as well. Take your chances when they're there. Take some pressure off Patrick Mahomes. He already has to do so much. Take some pressure after Patrick Mahomes.
And I think the inverse of what Harry was talking about was the Eagles. They were able to get home in the Super Bowl, and they didn't have to blitz. Now, look, they're going to have Jalen Carter, maybe even Zadarius Smith. But against Dallas 10 days ago, Greeny, they couldn't impact Dak Prescott. And if we have Patrick Mahomes, regardless of who he's throwing to, if you give him enough time, he will find a way.
But what about the institutional knowledge that Vic Fangio has?
Yeah.
Right? We always talk. I mean, we
Defensive
can't.
coordinator for the Eagles.
Yeah, we can't flip the coin and decide when we want to apply the logic to certain teams. Like now, we just talked about Washington, how many close games that they had, and they work out that saying that it's got to be a course correction. Well, nobody played closer games in the last couple of seasons than the Kansas City Chiefs.
But you want to know the difference between the two teams?
Their championship.
Damn right.
Well, but the
One
Eagles,
team's a champion.
Listen, I'm with
the
you.
other one's trying to become one.
No, the Eagles are the champions.
Right,
They're
correct.
defending Super Bowl champions.
I'm talking about the Commanders.
I'm talking about right now the Kansas City Chiefs and everyone talking about them winning their close games last year.
Yeah.
Like they found ways to win.
Right.
But here's the problem. I hear you. I think Kansas City will eventually be fine.
Yeah, they'll be fine.
But I don't think Xavier Worthy is going to play this week, and if he does, he's going to be severely limited. Rashee Rice has the suspension. I think they will eventually trade for someone like Tyreek Hill.
Right.
They always trade for a veteran receiver during the season. At that point, they'll be fine. This week, I don't know who Mahomes is throwing the ball to beat the Eagles.
It's not a fun, but the biggest X factor in the game of a Super Bowl rematch might be Juju Smith-Schuster.
Right.
He might have to go 10 for 100 this week for them to win this game. That's their number 2 wide receiver. They're going to go Hollywood Brown, and Juju needs to step up.
But it could be Noah Gray. It doesn't matter. Patrick Mahomes is going to get the ball to the open receiver.
Correct.
I just go back to the other side, and Andrew Makuba, he struggled as a rookie last week. Dory Jackson, who knows, maybe
He struggled massively.
it may be
7
Ja'Cory
targets
Bennett
and gave up 103 yards.
And a good pass rush masks those deficiencies, Greeny. And to me, Jalen Hunt and Nolan Smith are good players, but they're not dominant, which is what was the difference in the game last year.
But Jalen Carter is, and he makes everything easier for those guys. They become better pass rushers once they have him. We want to talk about the effect of Michael Parsons. We got to talk about Jalen Carter in the same breath. He's a candidate every year for a Defensive Player of the Year as well. Give him that respect.
Let me go to the next game. I'm surprised by all the red picks there. We'll see what winds up happening. Joe Fortenbaugh, next game. Bears, Lions. Detroit a 6.5-point favorite at home. Who you got?
First off, excellent passion on the desks. Outside of Harry Douglas, very impressed with everything I just heard right there.
Go Chiefs.
All right, jokes aside, we move to game number 2. Anything inside of a touchdown, we're playing the Detroit Lions. Jared Goff indoors has been close to printing money over the last 5-6 years. Since 2019, he's covering at just over 70%. That's where the game will be played this weekend. How much can we actually trust Chicago? It's a short week for a rookie coach with a quarterback who in his career, short career albeit, 0-3 when playing on the short week. People keep talking about Ben Johnson. He has knowledge of the Lions. He has the ability to take advantage of that. Maybe, but will his team execute? That's the problem there. The cornerback depth for the Bears is a problem as well. We laid the 6.5 with Detroit.
And everyone here is going to agree as we will get our picks up on the screen immediately. Everything. The Bart Scott Sr., everyone will be happy back home.
I just had to, but I can see where the institutional knowledge that Ben Johnson had, it isn't so much about the offense. I mean, about the Bears, the Lions offense. It's about knowing what Jared Goff struggles with because he has these intimate conversations. So what's this going to be its effect defensively how they prepare for Jared Goff?
That's interesting. It's also the most times we have used the phrase institutional knowledge in the 8-year history of this show in a very short period here of time. This, to me, is the most interesting game of the weekend.
I agree.
On this level. We always use the term bad game or bad sign. We're going to find it out with the Lions. I'm willing to chalk up last week to being they walked into a buzzsaw in Green Bay. That was a spot anybody was going to get worked in. If they lose to Chicago this weekend, their window is closed.
At home, no less, and with that guy on the other sideline. The football gods are funny. When they need the win the most, the person that Jared Goff is going up against is the guy who's now getting a lot of credit for what they did the last several years on offense. I think it's been a damning week for Jared Goff in the media with people just dismissing him as a product